Yes, I am back for I guess this is part 2 of the day. Real estate Q&A sessions week 46. I felt the need to run it back just because I did not get enough time. I only gave y'all about 30 minutes of my time before, so I felt like it was great. It was a good idea to get on tonight. Normally, oh snap. Oh, my chair is running into one of my plants. But yeah, I basically felt the need to run it back and do a part 2 for today, considering the fact that I was extremely busy, and I felt like why not lend the extra 30 minutes to give myself a full hour for week 46, real estate Q&A session week 46. So, as you guys already know, bringing you nothing but consistency each and every week, and trying to give you guys as much value as I can in the best capacity that I can give you, which is this, our show. A show we've made a staple on Thursdays, every Thursday, for a little part, more close to a year now. So, wanted to do that for you guys, and obviously lend my time, even though it's a later time. There's no better time than now. So, I think there's been one other show that we've done that's been after hours. This is considered after hours. I've been busy. I just got inside, just got out doing some meetings, but I figured why not? Why not? So we'll wait for some folks to pop up in here, and we'll do the best we can to answer any questions that may arise. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, if you haven't done so already, because I did discover that people are watching this show after after I post these things online, because most of the time I feel like most people don't watch these things unless they're live, right? And I understand people at work, people have things to do at 12 o'clock. And so when I when I do these things live, I tend to believe that most people aren't able to watch, just given the fact that it's in the middle of the day. But what I have discovered is that people are actually watching these shows after they're posted and actually spending time listening to these things. So, I told y'all last week to hold me accountable, and y'all are doing bad from an accountability standpoint. You need to be more, hold me accountable. I have to get these episodes on YouTube. I have to get them on a different platform, because I feel like, when it comes to listening to these things, IG is not something that people come on and listen to for an hour. I do this real estate talk show. I can talk for an hour, but IG is not a platform built for long videos. So I'm asking y'all to hold me accountable, put these things on YouTube. I just am. So I do these on you. I'm gonna put these on YouTube eventually. But again, people are watching these. If you're not showing up live, you're showing up after, and I like to believe that people are watching the whole show. But sometimes people click off. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, we're doing part 2 for today. I figured I was doing you guys no justice today by one, not doing my 12 o'clock show because I was busy as hell. And then 2, when I did get on at 6 o'clock, I only had 30 minutes to rap with y'all. So, again, I just felt like this is the best option to do, is give you guys another 30 minutes of my time, and ask any questions that you guys didn't get to ask at the 12 o'clock slot or the 6 o'clock slot. So for anybody that's got questions, you guys already know what this is. Real Estate Q&A Sessions week 46. Lending my time to you guys this afternoon, this evening, whatever it is, your time zone. I don't really care. Feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below and or in the question mark section right there. And if you haven't done so, housekeeping rules, as always, I don't ask y'all for money. I don't ask y'all to sign up for anything. Just screenshot me, post to your story, let folks know what we do it each and every week, as I provide value in the best way I can, because I'm not average Joe. Well, I am average Joe. No, I'm not a guru. I'm not a guru. I just know more than the average Joe. So, what's going on, Golden Boy? Hey, Money Man, what's going on, brother? AJ No Free, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you popping up in here. Man, you got a question. you had a question. You hit my DMs earlier this week. You had a question. I don't know if you're still in the mix, but you had a question. Feel free to ask your question, because actually I need to go to it and see what it was. You definitely hit me earlier this week with a question regarding something I cannot remember. So if you are still in the chat, feel free to comment in the section below. Until I get some more questions, what I'm going to do is talk about something that is, I think it's critical for anybody looking to purchase rentals. And I just got off a phone conversation with a brother. Y'all see me with these lights though? Ooh, come on, dog. I'm here with it. So when it comes to, I just had this conversation. I had a client that called me, and it's happened twice. Actually, it happened twice today. I was working with two clients today, as an agent, because y'all know I'm an agent. I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm not a lazy agent, but you gotta know what you want. You're working with me. But yeah, so both of these clients were looking into purchasing rental properties, buy and hold properties. And you know, when you're purchasing buy and hold properties, you know, a lot of times the question is, well, is it a good deal? Is it a, you know, is the money that is the money that they're asking for good money, right? Does it make sense? I like to believe that not a lot of people know how to figure out whether a rental is going to be good for them, cash on cash, you know, wise, like good return on your investment, right? So when you put your money in a bank, that money sits and interest and all that kind of stuff accrues, and you get a ROI, you get a cash on cash return on your money sitting in that bank. You know, that might be 1%, 2% over a year to date. YTD. Real estate. When you're investing in a rental property, you buy a property, you spend cash, right? You spend a certain amount of money, and then that property produces income. That income over a certain amount of time, you know, up against the amount of money that you purchase the property yields a ROI, cash on cash return. And so if you are an investor or want to be an investor, or you want to buy rentals, you have to figure out what percentage of money you want to see back on your investment, right? So when you go buy stocks, right? Some of y'all are into stocks. I don't know if Golden Boy's still in here. He be in the stock game too. Look, some of y'all are into the stock game. I'm not, right? Just because I'm trying to focus on what I do best, real estate. But for the folks that's in the stock, you guys know, like, certain stocks will yield certain percentages, right? You anticipate a certain percentage, right? Whatever that stuff is. Look, I'm not well versed in stocks. I'm learning. But anyway, so say with real estate, right? So just over a longer period of time, right? So if you say, all right, I want to purchase this house, and I want to rent it out, and if I'm going to spend $100,000, I want to see 10% of that money back every year. So if I buy this house for $100,000, I expect to get $10,000 back, 10% of the money that I spent. You have to figure that out. That number is going to be, or that percentage is going to be what decides whether or not a deal is good for you or is not good for you. And you can determine that without having to ask anybody, right? Without you having to, you know, just kind of blindly buy, right? Because you can make money on the buy, and I can talk about that later, right? But the most important thing is figuring out your ROI, your cash on cash returns. So the way I look at it, right, and the way I do things, and the way I evaluate properties is different from you, different from everybody else. Look, I've learned a long time ago, everybody runs their own numbers. Let them run numbers the way they want to run numbers. Cool, right? Because everybody's ROI, cash on cash return number is different. So for me personally, I like to see at least a 12% cash on cash percentage return on my investment when I purchase properties. That means for, you know, money I put in, I want to see 12% come back to me over a year span time, right? There are some nationally average, what you'll see acceptable is 10%. across the board. So if somebody purchases a rental property and they get profit back over a year span time, they want to see at least 10% back. That's average. That's normal for most folks that buy houses or buy rental properties. What you will find is that people will accept 8%, 6%, 5%. Now, as that percentage goes lower, you're paying a lot more. You're either paying a lot more, or the amount of money that you're getting to rent is not bringing in enough money to make that percentage high enough, right? So if, let's say, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. You'll find a lot of folks that are from overseas or things like that, and they'll come and purchase properties, right? They're fine and okay with taking a 5%, 6% cash on cash return on their money, because maybe in their country where they spend their money, they're only able to get 2%, 3%, right? Whereas over here, what's acceptable is 10%. You want to be in that 10 to 12% range. What I do is when I look at properties and I buy my rentals and I decide whether a rental is good or not, I look at, am I getting at least 12% back? And will I go lower than that? Yes, I will. I'll go as low as 10%. But I'll only go low like 10% if the area is highly appreciating. So I'm willing, basically that means I'm willing to take home less money each month because the area that I'm in is a good area. It's appreciating. The house is appreciating, right? And so that means that I'm willing to take less money every month because I'm in a good area. I can sell the house down the road. I can pull equity out if I want to. I'm always going to have tenants in there because it's a desirable area. I'm willing to take home less for that because the area is great. I'm buying into the area more so than the property. I'm willing to take home 10% on that. That's fine. 12%, there's some cases where I'm not willing to go lower than 12%. Areas that are, little C-class areas, D-class areas. You deal with a lot more in those kind of, those graded areas. And so you want to make sure that the money that you put in is worth the return. So if I'm going to be dealing with more things with this particular property in this particular location, then the money I get, I don't want just $100, $200 back every month. It needs to be worth it. I'm not going to go spend $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 and only get $100 back every month. That ain't happening, right? So it needs to be worth. It needs to be worth the purchase, right? It needs to make sense. And so that number is different for everybody. That number is not just for me. It's not just what everybody says, oh, yeah, go buy 10. No, it's different for everybody. There's some people that say, I'm not buying a rental property or an investment property unless I'm able to get 15% back. By all means, cool. If I could find houses out here that are yielding 15%, I'm buying every time. 15% is a good deal. 15% is a good deal. Some people, that's just what they search for. Those deals are going to be harder to find, right? But that's preference. Some people are okay with 8%, 6%. Doesn't mean you have to be, but just know that, and here's an easy way. I'm going to tell you guys how to do this stuff, right? Fuck it. I'll just tell you how to do it. So, quick way to do this, figure out whether a rental property is going to be a good deal for you is, okay, you find a house. Let's say you're on Redfin or Trulia or whatever Zillow, Zillow, whatever y'all be using to look at these houses and, get your stimmies up, whatever. You go on there and you see the purchase price. Cool. House looks nice. Looked at the pictures. Cool. House is worth, we're going to do some, damn, I ain't got no calculator. You know what? Let's do it. One of y'all pull up y'all calculators. I'm about to help y'all out real quick. Let's see if my Mac got a calculator. It should have a calculator. Hold on, guys. Calculator. Here it is. All right. So, here. So let's say you find a rental property, and let's say it's worth let's say $60,000. So let's say it's worth $60,000, right? So we take that price. We say, okay, this house looks nice. We see the pictures. Oh, cool. Yeah, great. Cool. So we're going to try to find the ROI cash from cash return for this property in a perfect year, right? In a perfect year. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that $60,000 and then we're going to say, okay, got that in our head. Cool. $60,000. We're then going to go to, and if you guys aren't agents or if you don't have access to an agent, fine, right? These are just estimates. All number running and estimates is just that. It's an estimate. You don't know what could happen up or down. At the end of the day, no matter how tight your numbers are, it is a estimation. It's a guess. In this scenario, I hope this is what happens. So understand that just because you run your numbers as tight as can be doesn't mean it's going to happen like that, right? That's the best guesstimation that you can come up with. And you use your best estimated guess to make sure that that number happens. But don't be surprised if it doesn't. That's why you plan or put contingencies in place. 10%, 5%, whatever the case may be. Anyway, so let's say this. Okay, so you're going to go to rentometer.com. Not saying it's completely 110% accurate, but it's better than you not knowing anything and just going blindly into this assumption. What you want to find is the rent rates in that area. You can go to rentometer.com and input the address, and it's going to ask you for the beds, how many baths, the address, XYZ. It's going to give you a rental approximation. It's going to say, hey, in this area within a quarter mile, rents are this for houses that are similar to yours, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. You can also go to these apartments.com, all those kind of places. Section 8. You can go to Section 8. Go to that website, and you can definitely type in a zip code or an address. I think it's a zip code, and you can figure out what's going on in that area via Section 8 if you're looking to get Section 8 tenants. Woo! Don't let that fly over your head. Anyway, so once you go out there and it shows you the rent rates, the average rent rates. Okay, let's say in our area we're getting $1,200, averaging $1,200 a month, right, for a 3 bedroom, 1 bath. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that $1,200, we're gonna multiply that by 12. That gives us our gross income. Now you guys can do this on your phone, in the car, driving by a house, wherever. You can do this on your phone. It's really easy. It's gonna give us our gross income for the year. So $1,200 a month times 12, that's $14,400, right? Glad I'm not doing math on air on my head because I would be horrible at this. So that gives us our gross. We need to divide that. No, not divide that. You need to multiply that by your expenses. Now, this is a guesstimation. This is quick math. This is quick math, back of the envelope equation to try to decide whether or not this deal or this house is worth any more of your time. Any more. Right? From a very preliminary standpoint, right? If I run these numbers and I pull a 8% or I pull a 6%, I'm probably gonna keep it moving, right? But anyway, just pay attention. I'm gonna show you how you can manipulate these numbers. So you multiply your 1,200 by 12, right? It's 12 months in a year, 12. Then you multiply that by your expenses. You're doing a rough guesstimation. I usually go by 60%. So out of my gross income, I am estimating that 60% of this income is going to mortgage, insurance, taxes, maintenance costs, holding over vacancy costs, all that crap. I'm estimating is going to eat up about 60% of that gross income. So I'm multiplying that by 60%, 0.6. That gives me my net $8,640. So that is what I can anticipate on bringing back in after I estimate 60%. Now for you guys, how you guys run your stuff or your expenses, this is where you, after you do this and a deal seems like it's worth it, this is when you start digging in and okay, maybe it's not 60%, maybe your expenses are really 50% or 40%. You never know, right? But that's for you to decide. That's where you get deeper into the numbers. This is just a preliminary thing that you can run really quickly and decide whether or not it's worth your time. So now we have our net, 8,640. You're going to take that and you're going to divide that by your all-in cost. And when I say all-in cost, I mean everything, right? So the purchase price and rehab costs. So if you did any rehabbing, you put 5,000 into it, 10,000, whatever the case may be, you're adding that on there, your all-in cost. So let's say the house is worth 60. It showed 60, right? Let's say, I'm not even gonna do that. We'll do that on the next example. So you're gonna take that 8640. We don't have to do anything to the house. It's turnkey. And we're gonna divide that by $60,000. We get 0.144. That's 14.5%. That's a deal. That is a good damn deal. That's a deal that I'd buy every day. Right there. That's how you can figure out whether or not a deal is worth your time. So if I see that number right there, I'm digging in a little bit deeper. That's a deal that I'm looking into, right? For sure. So I'll give you an example of where you would have to do some rehab. So let's take the same numbers just to make it easy, right? So let's say $60,000. Let's say the rent rate is $12,000. Let's say it's $1,200 a month, right? But this house is gonna need like a lipstick renovation. Not even. Let's just say it's gonna need a renovation. Let's just say it needs $20,000. We can look at it and be like, I think it's gonna need about $20,000. You're gonna take that $20,000. You're gonna add that to 60. So this is how it will work. So you take that same $1,200, which is your rent rate every month. You're gonna multiply that by 12. Then you're going to multiply that by your 60%. Then you're going to divide that by your purchase price plus your renovation cost, which is $20,000. So $60,000 plus $20,000 is $80,000. So you're going to take that number, you're going to divide that by $80,000. Watch this. That number, that cash on cash percentage now is down to 10%, close to 11. Is that a deal that I will still do? Yeah, maybe. I'd probably try to cut down my renovation costs, find a way to cut down my renovation costs, but I would still do that. I would still do that deal. Yeah, I would still do that deal. Depending on the area, right? The lower it gets, now I'm starting thinking about other things, right? 14, 15% all day, I'm doing it, right? But when you start dipping it a little bit lower, so I'll give you another example, which is the most common example. So let's say we see this deal for $60,000, right? And let's say this is the more common. Pay up. This is the most common one. Let's say it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Let's say the most we can get out of that is $1,100. We'll keep it simple. $1,200, right? Let's say $1,200, but it's $60,000 and it needs an actual rehab. Like it needs to be rehabbed. So we're gonna put $50,000 into it. So let's take that $1,200, multiply that by 12, multiply that by 60%, and we're gonna divide that by what's 60 plus 50? 110. Okay, you're gonna divide that by $110,000. You get 7%. I'm not taking that. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. You see what I'm saying? So that is a situation where you see a house at a good price. Oh, I can afford this. But then you look at the rehab cost. You're like, damn, it's gonna need a lot of money. And then you say, okay, well the rent rate's only $1,200. Okay, you run this and you see 7%. Is that deal now worth it? You're gonna put $50,000 is not for anybody that's never renovated a house. That's not a small number. That's not a small rehab. That's a pretty sizable rehab. $50,000, $60,000, depending on your market, right? In DC, $50,000 is kind of small because in DC, a lot of the renovations are high-end renovations. People easily spend over $100. AJ says, where did you get 60 plus 50? $60,000 was the purchase price. And instead of, I put 50,000 is the proposed renovation cost. So I just made up a renovation cost number and tacked it on to that. So basically what you're doing is when you're dividing up, when you're coming up with that number and you get your net income for the year, you're dividing that by your all-in cost, which is your purchase price plus your renovation cost. So whatever you spent renovation-wise, you're tacking that on. So if I purchased, if the purchase price is $60,000 and I'm gonna put $50,000 into it, that means my all-in cost is $110,000. I'm gonna take that $110,000 and I'm gonna divide that by my my net income for the year. That is gonna give you your cash from cash year to date return on investment percentage. Yes. So that'll let you know what's a good deal or not. Now, another common scenario with these numbers is I'm gonna give you a real example, right? Another real example. And when you do this enough, sometimes when you do this enough, you'll get to the point where you don't really need to do this equation. You'll know the rent. You'll know kind of like a roundabout of what a 2-bed, 1-bath will give you rent-wise. 3-bed, 1-bath, or 3-bed, 2-bed. You'll start remembering like rent rates and be like, okay, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, you'll probably get like 1,500. You'll start memorizing, and then based on the purchase price, you're gonna be like, okay, they want a 3-bedroom, 1-bath for $150,000. Yet I know that area only brings in maybe $1,300. I can tell you right now that's a horrible number. That's a horrible percentage. Not a horrible percentage. It's a very low percentage. If you told me that you're gonna buy a house for $150,000 and you're only bringing in $1,400 a month, I don't have to do the math in my head to know that that's not gonna be a great ROI for me. Let's do it. So let's say the house is worth, let's say they want $150,000 for the house. Cool beans. Let's say the rent rate is $1,500. Let's say the rent rate is $1,500. So we're gonna take that $1,500, multiply that by 12 months, and then we're going to multiply that by 60%. And then we're going to divide that by $150,000. $7%. Some people are okay with that. I'm not. Right? So if I had to spend $150,000 and I'm only bringing in $1,500 a month, and my ROI cash on cash return is 7%, probably not doing it. So, what does that mean if I'm looking at a house that's on the market? See, y'all, I'm really taking y'all to school right now. So if you ran those numbers and you see that let's say the house, they have it listed for $150,000. Let's say it's turnkey. Don't have to put any money into it. $1,500 is the rent rate. Let's just perfect scenario. It's listed for that, and you still want to buy it. But you know you can't pay $150 and get what you feel like is good enough for you. Well, how do you figure out what's good for you? Start dropping that purchase price. So instead of running it at $150,000, let's run it at $140,000. So we're gonna go 12. We're gonna go $1,500, which is the rent rate, times 12. So you should start remembering this equation in your head. Times 60% divided by 140. $140,000. Still 7%. Just let you know, it's a bad deal. So let's do it again. Okay, 140 doesn't work. Let's try 120, right? Let's try $120,000. So we're going to take 1,500, the rent rate, times 12 months, times 60% expenses, divided by $120,000 purchase price, all in costs. What does that give us? 9%. Oh, you're starting to see it go up, right? Okay, let's. Still not where our standard is. Right, our standard is 10%, 12%. Let's go down to 105. Let's go down to 105. So we're gonna take 1,500, right? Times 12. Y'all should remember this by now. This is times 60% divided by, what do we say, 105? Yeah, we said 105. Oh, okay, now we're talking now. Now we're talking. 10%. 10%. 10%. So, let's say our goal is 10%. Cool. At 105, that just lets us know that in order for us to achieve our 10% underwriting criteria for a cash-on-cash return, we need to offer $105,000. Not $150,000, $105,000. That deal works for us at our number, which is $105,000. We don't care what they're offering. We don't care what the list price is. We don't care what you wholesalers are telling us the purchase. I don't care. I'm going to run my numbers like that. And I'm going to let my numbers tell me what the purchase price is. And if the purchase price is $45K less than what the list price is, oh well. Or what the wholesaler is offering, oh well. It's either you're going to do it or you're not. And most of the time, right now in this market, you going 45K under list. Don't put an offer. Don't waste your time. Don't even call. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to wasting your time and not wasting your time. You get what I'm saying? You can either waste your time or you can not waste your time. You can call up an agent and be like, oh, I want this listing and I think this is a nice house and XYZ and all that kind of stuff. Go through the shebangs, whatever. Go out, see the house, start running your numbers. Go out, see the house. You're trying to put an offer in and, you start running your numbers after doing all that work and effort and all that kind of stuff. And you pull up a 6%, you'll be upset. You'll be like, I don't really want to put an offer in. The agent's going to be upset. You just wasted your time. You just wasted your time. I'm trying to save y'all. Y'all either come to school or you not. Listen. If any of you guys have ever shopped for wholesale deals, wholesalers are great. They offer great prices. They offer off-market deals. They're great. But there's a lot of wholesalers out there that have deals that aren't really good deals. And if you just do that right there, you can eliminate probably about 80% of them out of your inbox, off of Facebook. You can get rid of a lot of them. So I say all that to help you guys out when it comes to asking whether a deal is worth it or not. That is the best equation. Not best equation. You can run your numbers how you want to. But that is a good way to decide on whether to pursue more action or not. And if you pull up a 14, and here's the other thing. Don't sit here and try to, when you pull up those rent rates in your area, don't go with the highest rent rate. Because you see that, okay, a 3-bed, 2-bath in this area, I can get, oh my gosh, I can get up to $1,500 or $1,800. All right. Run them numbers high if you want to. Yeah, it's going to look good. It's going to look good until it ain't good. It's going to look good until you get a tenant that is a regular, that is giving you market rate. $200 less than what, you thought it could be. You never go with the highest number. Ever. Right? It's great to know that if you can get up to that rent rate, great, cool. But you always run your numbers conservatively. Don't lose your ass. Right? Always run your numbers conservatively. If that means that, at the high end, this house can get $1,500. Well, I need to see the low end. I need to run my numbers at the low end, worst case scenario, so I know that if something were to happen, I know I can at least get this and the numbers still make sense. You don't want to buy a house and then something happens, or, you know, you're not able to get the highest rent rate and you get the lowest, and you want to know that you're still making good money and it's worth your time, worth your effort. Because buying a rental property or an investment property takes time and it takes effort. So, tell you guys all that to make you aware of what's really out here in the streets, right? And when you go look at your rent rates, make sure that when you look at the rent rate, you're choosing conservative numbers. If they give you a range, you choose the bottom, right? And if you run your numbers at the bottom, the conservative way, and you're still getting over the percentage, 12%, 14, 15, then anything extra that you get, or any rent rate that you get above that, that'll yield you a higher percentage, obviously, you take it and run with it. I'm so glad, right? I know that if I can get 10% off my money at the lowest rent rate in this area will provide, I'm okay. Because I know that if I can get $1,200 to $1,300 on the high end, and that puts me over 13, 14%, that's even greater. Cool. But I know at worst case scenario, I can still make my mark and make the money that I anticipate on making or look to make whenever I buy a property. Y'all can either listen or you know. This stuff is free. People lose thousands of dollars not paying up to this kind of information. Or they figure it out after they've lost thousands of dollars. Or they go pay somebody thousands of dollars to get this kind of information. It's up to y'all. It ain't up to me. I try to help y'all in the best way I can. Y'all either listen to me or y'all don't. I care about y'all, but it's up to y'all to listen. You know, I can only lead y'all so far. You know what I'm saying? And this is the way I'm doing it. On a freaking Thursday, I have been running, talking all day. This is the second session I'm doing today. I'm tired. You can see it in my eyes. Oh yeah, that rhymed. All right, let me get up out of here. Yeah, appreciate y'all for always. I know we didn't do any questions. Sorry, how rude of me. If y'all got questions, feel free to ask them in the questions in the comment section below, and or in the question mark little thing right there. What I'll do is I'll stay on for another 2 minutes. If you guys don't have any questions within the 2-minute time frame, then I'm gonna get off at 9:10. If you do, then I'll keep going. What's going on, Sneaker Fiend? Mr. Cheeto Head, Robin _ Mitchell, TJ A1225, AJ No Free. What's going on, brother? Sam popped in here. What's going on, Sam? Mr. Pilot Guy. What's going on, Torrin? What's up? The real Maddie. Sorry, real Maddie. Beautiful Libra. What's going on? Yeah, appreciate y'all for popping up in here. If you guys haven't done so already, please screenshot this Portuguese story. Let us know what we're doing each and every week. Just because I don't make the 12 o'clock slot, don't mean I ain't gonna be here on Thursday, even at 9 o'clock. So, out here, you know what I'm saying, doing the best I can. AJ _ No Free. Thanks, bro. That pretty much answered the question I DM'd you. Yes, I brought that up and forgot the question that you had asked me, and that turned out to actually be the question you asked me. Oh, man. I'm glad that could be some value to you. I hope you wrote that equation down because that's gonna, I'm telling you, that's gonna save you time, right? You know, I had, there's times where people will, there's times where people will ask me, is a deal worth it or not? Or is this a good deal at this price? You don't have to ask that when you run that equation, right? If you ran that equation and before you asked an agent, before you talk to anybody, you'll know right off the top of your head. And what you should do, literally what you do, you want to practice You want to get some good practice in? I'll tell you how to get some good practice in. Go on Zillow. Or go wherever you have current, or wherever you can find current listings, and look at houses that interest you, right? And run that equation on every single one of them, right? And they're all in different parts of your city, different parts of your town, but run it as if you were there, or, you know, whatever, right? And you go to that website I told you about, or you go to apartments.com or wherever, and you go find the average rent rates for each one of those houses in each one of those areas. And you start practicing that equation, and you'll be able to know what's a good deal just when you see the list price and see how many beds and baths and see what area it's in. You'll be able to know, right? I know right now that if somebody said, "Yeah, I got this house for $170,000," and I go look at the rent rate and it's only $1,200, horrible. I don't have to do anything further to know that if you're spending $100,000 and you're only getting $1,200 in rent, that ROI is not going to be great for me. Just me. Run the numbers. Let's run the numbers one more time. Well, let's run the numbers one more time, just so you can see. Right? Let's practice. Let's see. $1,200. I say $1,200. So $1,200 times 12 times 60% divided by 170. Yikes! Woo! Ooh, that's tough. 5%. 5%. 5%. So you spent $170,000, and you're only getting 5% return on your money. I'm staying away from that. Really far away from that. So, good practice. So, other than that, it's past 9 o'clock. It's 9:15. We're coming up on that. I'm about to dip set, about to roll. I'll see y'all next week. If you got any questions, please, you get me in the DMs, but I don't check my DMs. But every blue moon. But other than that, appreciate y'all for always showing love. I'm tired. This is real estate Q&A session, week 46. We're going to be back for week 47 next week. Stay blessed. Love you people. Stay safe out here. Wear a damn mask. Wear a damn mask. All right. Peace.